Hey, and we are back. Thank you, everybody. Things have been kind of crazy around here. Garlock, you just moved, and
Yes,
we all
sir.
kind of
Yes,
get. We all
sir. Out
kind of
to the
get.
boonies.
That's right. The boonies is the place to be because
Yeah.
you don't want. We're all in our own kind of Day of the Dead bunker right now, and things are a little crazy, but we are back, and we will continue doing this as long as we can. How you
Amen.
doing, Zach?
I'm doing pretty well.
Awesome, man. Let's see where we're at here. Okay, we have the opening shot of Dr. Sarah Bowman, played by Lori Cardiel, looking very despondent. She's all alone, locked into a room. I think a lot of us may have been locked inside of a room, feeling despondent lately. This is a very relatable scene. What do you guys think?
Yes, totally relatable.
Absolutely.
Wh-
What else
when
is
I was a
Lori?
kid,
Yeah.
when I was a kid, we had a closet in my mom's house which didn't open from the inside, so all of us kids would take turns like locking each other in the closet.
Oh,
And
geez.
yeah, I had a good childhood. So
Uh,
yeah, so,
you, came
we
out,
got the claustrophobia thing going here.
you came out very well adjusted, regardless, Garlock.
Thank you, thank you.
Here we
I am
go.
clearly the sanest member of my family.
I can vouch.
Yeah.
Your sister and mother are lovely people, though. We got a calendar on a wall, and it's full of crossed out days and a picture of a pumpkin field. So we got a picture of the pumpkin field, and I thought that was kind of nice. It's kind of a contrast, because life, death, harvest, spring. It's kind of that's kind of what her mind is. And she walks over to the wall, puts her hand on it, and boom! What's this? A bunch of zombie hands come out, and they are reaching for her, and she is not liking it. And I'm guessing that was like do you guys know how this wall was made? I'm guessing it's some kind of paper mache.
It's my guess.
I wonder how many times they had to do the shot to get everybody's hand coming through at the same time. It was probably a big pain in the butt to shoot. But totally worth it because this was a sweet scene. Oh, next scene. She wakes up and she realizes that she fell asleep while she's flying in a helicopter. Oh, what's this? The turn away she does always made me laugh. So dramatic. It is very dramatic. This is a dramatic movie. This is I would say Dawn of the Dead was more of like a fun movie. Even in a grim scenario, it's more of a kind of a comic booky kind of.
Very action adventure.
Very action
Like,
adventure. This is
yeah.
this movie is full of doom. And this guy here, he's feeling kind of doom. This is Miguel, and he is praying, and he is the boyfriend of Dr. Sarah Bowman.
Miguel, good Lord.
He is a controversial figure in this movie, I guess you could say, to put it mildly. But he is a. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Garlic.
Miguel's weird because I think he's ostensibly supposed to be one of the soldiers because you have the soldiers and the scientists, but he's too stupid to be a scientist. He's too wimpy to be a soldier, so I don't really know where he fits in.
I saw a theory in that, and that was Rhodes, who we're going to meet here momentarily. He's clean shaven and takes it all very seriously, so he was probably some kind of officer, and the rest of these guys are probably just National Guardsmen. They're probably just local schlubs, we guys who are maybe not 100% with the program, and they are not prepared for this kind of thing.
And Miguel was in Knight Riders, and so was what's his name, the Bono,
Who is Miguel on Knight Riders?
This is just some random dude, but he pops in there. He's one of the carnies that just pops in for a couple scenes and then he's gone.
He's one of them. He's a Romero hanger-on, basically. He's part of the crew.
Yeah, it seems that way. He's one of the Pennsylvania crowd, I guess.
I will say the guy who played him did a very effective job in this movie. He did a very he definitely filled you with strong emotions regarding Miguel. What we got next here? All right.
That dude was my favorite character.
This guy, yeah, he's a good guy. I like this guy. He's one of the heroes of the movie.
I like him too.
Yeah, we see his name is Bill, and he is the radio operator, and he can't get anybody on the radio. He's wearing these amazing, gloriously dated headphones from the 80s. I love those things. And she's like, hey, man, try again. And he remarks that he's been sitting up down the coast and getting nothing but the same dead air. There's nobody, or at least nobody with their radio. He kind of reminded me of Scotty from Star Trek. Always trying to get his machine working, always people are going, hey, can't you do this? And he's like, no, I can't
Generally
do this.
drunk. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's got an accent going. What accent? I couldn't place this guy's accent. Maybe
Seems Irish to me.
Almost Canadian. I've heard some Canadians with that kind of accent. Maybe Truman Kellers knows because he knows everything.
He does.
Yeah, he does have kind of like an encyclopedic knowledge of this movie stuff. This
is true. She asked him to sit down, and he says that it is not in their contract. That's kind of his MO. He does not want to get any more involved than he has to because he already thinks this whole thing is kind of dumb. But he's doing his best on the radio.
I mean, who can blame him? He's like they're hit deep into the zombie apocalypse. I kind of wonder how far along this is supposed to be. Like,
I'm gonna guess 6 months. Does that seem right? Maybe a year. How far along is Dawn? You think?
Well, Dawn took place over a long span of time because it was enough for her to get pregnant and like be pregnant. So Dawn itself took place over about a year.
So this is probably like a year or two down the line. Things are really bad. There's not a whole lot going on left in the world anymore. She tells him, John, the driver. So we got a shot of John here.
John's awesome.
He's cool. He's kind of the sage. He's got a lot of good advice. He's kind of spiritual. Him and Bill are both kind of spiritual, and they have a kind of a more I don't know what kind of take would you say it is, Garlock? They're both detached from the situation.
Well, they're there to do a job, and they're not going to do anything else because they know the whole situation is just completely stupid, and it's hopeless. So they kind of just go with the flow.
And they're more.
I think they're trying to make the best out of a bad situation.
Well, what I noticed is both of these guys are tradesmen. This guy can fly the helicopter, and Bill can work a radio. And then you have the kind of the scientist and the soldiers, kind of it's kind of like the head and the hands, and these guys are the heart, as they would have said in Metropolis.
I like that. Yeah, that's a good take, dude. That's a good take.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I like how we find out later they separate themselves from everyone. They don't want to be there with the soldiers. Like they freaking live out in the caves underground in a freaking cool trailer.
But they don't want to hang out with the scientists either. They do that towards the end. Sounds English to me. Reminds me of Blackadder a bit. That is good. I should have done.
He kind of does have a. He kind of looks like Bean. Yeah, he looks like a little like Rowan Atkinson.
He says that he will set them down, but he's going to keep the engine going. And at the first sign of trouble, he's going up. And if you guys aren't on board when that happens, you're going to have a lousy afternoon. Bill keeps working the radio. That's kind of his gimmick. And Sarah and Miguel enter the city. And Miguel pulls out a bullhorn. And I got to give the guy who played Miguel props because this is one of the more iconic scenes of the movie. Let's see, where are we at here? Where he's like, hello, is anybody there? I think it's been sampled a few times in some like techno songs. But it's very, kind of right from the get-go, we get a good sign that things are bad. And this guy is desperately trying to make some kind of connection with the larger world. And this is the bank. Oop, let me back up here. The bank has a reptile in it.
I love that. I love it. It's so random.
In the next shot here, we have some money. It's useless now. It kind of goes back to that scene in Dawn of the Dead where they find all the money. And it's like, oh, when are we going to need this? Well, you never know. Well, now we know. And you're not. It's
the stores are all closed. They even say like later on the shopping malls are closed. It's like, oh, something very funny. So It's a nice little callback.
The Dead Walk. That's kind of a throwback to the first movie.
I think this newspaper has kind of been copied for pretty much every like cheap zombie exploitation movie after this one. Like, I know somebody specifically lifted it. I can't remember where I read it, but like something I saw, like somebody actually made a copy of this paper and like put it in their own movie.
We got here. I imagine Bill and John probably ran helicopter tours in the Caribbean before the zombie plague started. That's a good take. I would guess we don't know much about their backstory, but they are very much about that good life, and they are not thrilled with what they see as a hopeless task. Oh my gosh! First zombie of the movie, and yeah, Tom Savini. I think this is probably his best work in this movie.
He totally brought it. Yeah.
These zombies are on another level. This one had what was it, a $6 million budget or $8 million or something? It was pretty big.
It would have been bigger if he would have taken the R rating. Like he wanted to do this big epic thing, but he didn't. He didn't want to do an R. He wanted to have it unrated. So they cut a bunch of the budget because he wouldn't. Because if you don't get an R rating, you can't get in theaters, and then nobody will see it. But it still made money, even unrated.
Coffee down the wrong pipe. Sorry, guys. Excuse me. Here we
what
go.
He should have done is take the money, like make his epic, and then deliver an R-rated cut, and then later on do a director's cut. But whatever.
Yeah, most of these auteur guys aren't the most pragmatic guys. Yeah, you could almost say that George Romero has a bit of King Billy in him.
A little bit, yeah.
He's very much the he's Rorschach. Never ever compromise.
Rorschach's like the epitome of not compromising.
The newspaper is used in the opening cutscene of Resident Evil 3, basically.
Is that a movie or one of the video games?
That's a good question. Is that the movie or the video game colors?
Cutscene. That sounds like a video game, but I think they did use it for one of the movies. Like I've seen all the movies. I actually like them, but I don't know. Let us know, Trembling.
So, Bill is still working the radio when John tells him to forget it. It's a dead place like all the others you call. And he says, listen, can you hear it over the engine? And John replies, Jesus, Mary, and Joseph, and reaches for his flask.
He says it a lot throughout this movie.
Oh, it's in the game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they got a bit of a spiritual approach here. And a mob of zombies approaches, and Miguel gets spooked and runs away. Sarah looks on defiantly. That's kind of the contrast between the two characters. I think at this point, everybody has some kind of PTSD, and they all kind of process it in different ways. And I think Miguel has kind of just shut down. He can't take it anymore. He can't function anymore. Whereas Sarah's kind of just become a robot. She's kind of just become this like unfeeling, like kind of Spock figure. And I think it's due to trauma.
It's hard to imagine Miguel actually being a hard charger at some point, but maybe he was. Maybe he was like super on point, like clean shaven, like you know. Then he just like, I can't take it anymore. I'm gonna slap everybody, you know. Like,
well, to his credit, he does get in the little in the bug. We'll get there in a minute here. We'll get there in a minute. Here's Dude Weed, and Dude Weed is watering his crops. As we get out, we see a mob of zombies, and they are clamoring to get inside of the gate. And here's the big mob of zombies. This kind of I know you don't watch it, Garlock, but Zach, you ever watch Walking Dead? This was kind of a big. There's a pastiche of this, and I want to say season 4, where they have several episodes where like zombies are just coming to their gate. And they have like a stick, like with a point on it, and they just kind of walk out and just poke them in the eyeball. And I don't know why they don't do that here, but yeah.
There's a lot of things they should do differently in this movie.
That is true. Oh, this is Romero is a trailblazer, you know, and Walking Dead was building on his work, by going that route. It's like, well, why don't we do this? Okay, let's see it, and we did. If you saw The Walking Dead, but this is the OG. They get out, and one of the soldiers asks if they found anything. John replies, and he has a very thick accent. Sounds Jamaican. I could be wrong. He
Sounds
says,
about
"Yeah,
right.
a bunch of real estate at close-up prices." Then he tells them the gas of the machine is down to fumes. It almost seems like he has a bit of contempt for the soldiers. Am I wrong there? It's kind of a sarcastic response he gives off to them.
Oh,
And the guys,
absolutely. Yeah, he
I
doesn't
mean, the
respect
soldiers,
them, and
dude, they probably just want to know if there's somebody out there. They're like, "Hey, man, what's up, guys? Give us some good news." And he's just like, ain't no
as
good
far as
news,
they know, they're
guys.
the last people alive on Earth. Like they haven't
Right,
been
right.
able to, get a hold of anybody.
Now he tells them the gas of the machine, the helicopter. Sari says no. Wait till it's dark. There's too many zombies getting riled up. And John says it's not a good idea to leave the gas tank empty. Suppose we need to leave out of here in a hurry. Then Sarah says, then we're out of luck. Wait till it's dark and they can't see us. And John says they know we're in here, even if they can't see us. What good is it to leave the gas tank empty? And then she's like, no, there's too many. It excites them, the activity. I'm with the helicopter guy here, guys. I'm with John. Like
Big time, big time.
it's kind of Sarah kind of I think it's because of the trauma and the kind of turning into a robot. She kind of orders everybody around and talks down to people. And I
She
think
kind of thinks
this is
she's the
kind of one of
smartest
those.
person in the room, but she, like, the movie will show that, like, pretty much nobody knows what the fuck's going on at all. Like, period. Like, everybody's just lost in
Yeah,
lost land.
yeah. People. They're kind of sniping at each other, and it's kind of because they're kind of on each other's nerves at this point. It happens to the best of us.
Let me
Sarah
know if it
opens
ever
the
happens to me.
helicopter. No, you're good, man. Sarah opens the helicopter, and Miguel is in there having a bad time. And she tells him that let's get below. And then she's like, Miguel, what can I do? And he startles awake. And let's see, we got Miguel here. Oh, I guess I don't have a shot of Miguel looking sad. Oh, well, that's okay. You don't need one. We all get the
Funny
idea.
thing
He's sad.
about Miguel is,
Yeah.
like, when he gets in his fits and he's like really, just really scared. He
Mhm.
reminds me of that old cartoon character who's the pink cat. I think his name was Snagglepuss.
Oh, my
Yeah.
goodness.
Heavens to Murgatroyd.
Yes.
A little bit,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, that's kind of an older kind of accent archetype you don't see anymore. Donald Sutherland kind of had that in what was it? Keller's Heroes? That old way of speaking. It's kind of
Yeah, it seems like a kind of flamboyant, like movie, golden era type, kind of like put on extravagance.
well, I'm guessing these guys are all kind of like film students, and they probably came up watching a lot of the golden era. So I can see some of that kind of maybe affecting them.
Yeah, it definitely needs a cigarette holder.
Miguel startles awake. She offers to help him with his bag, but he refuses. He says he's all right, and she says, "You're not all right. You're collapsing from stress." And he correctly points out, I think, collapsing from stress. We're all collapsing from stress, except you. I know you're strong, all right. Stronger than me, stronger than everyone. So what? Kind of whiny. Comes across as whiny, but he's also
Big
kind
time.
of sick of her posturing. I think it's kind of yeah. What do you guys think?
That's a good
I
take. Like,
mean,
she just. Go ahead, Zach.
I can see how they can both get on each other's nerves, to be honest. Like, I don't think there's a.
I really think Miguel just kind of needs like a high five, and a pat on the back and a hug right now.
Yeah, and
Not
she's
not,
acting like not comforting. She's kind of like a mean robot Nazi.
yeah, but it's kind of she's also that's kind of what you have to do to survive, and she's doing what she needs to be to survive, and he is not.
Yeah, that is
So
true.
it's
Kind of
kind
has
of
to.
it's very human situation.
I'd say during a zombie apocalypse, which is clearly is, like, having a hard charger type who doesn't, like, fold under stress is a good thing. And so, like, I find Sarah to be an admirable character in those regards, regardless of her inability to make friends and influence people.
Good call. Good call. We need one person though who can win friends and influence people. We need a Carnegie in here, and I don't think there's a Carnegie in this movie. Yeah, I can't think of one. John and Bill are the closest things that there are, but they have checked out. They don't care anymore.
Yeah, they don't give a shit. They don't do anything that they don't have to. That's not in their contract, and the people who wrote the contracts are long gone. Yeah,
that's true.
They're probably not getting paid anymore. So,
we see 3 graves. Where we got here? Sarah asks who died and is told Major Cooper died this morning. And then John says, and then there were 12. Any significance to that number? 12? Maybe not.
I mean,
just a random
possibly
12 disciples. Nah, I think it's just a random number. Burial today. That's why there's if there's 12 disciples, one of them has to be Judas, and I think we might see who that Judas is later.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
Burial today. That's why there's so many of them. John points out that there's hundreds of them out there, thousands, millions. You stick your head in the sand, and one of them might come up and bite you in the ass. Oh my goodness! And he's pointing out that it's BS what they're doing here. It's crazy. And she's like, if you have an alternative, I'd be happy to listen to it. And he says, I've got an alternative. Let's get in the old whirly bird, find an island someplace, get juiced up, and spend what time we have left soaking up some sunshine. She says, you could do that, couldn't you? With all that's going on, you could do it without a second thought. And he says, I could do it even if this all wasn't going on. So it's, she is very duty driven. She's very, I think the duty, what they're doing here is something keeping her sane. And I think John's more like, I don't need this duty. Then get down on a giant elevator and go down into the military base. And soldier says, another waste of time, right? And John's like, yeah, got that right, man. All right. Here's the crew now. Here's the cool guys, or the cool guy and the other guy. The cool guy and the other guy.
I could not stand any of them at all, especially the one with the laugh. Like, wow.
Oh, Rickles? Yeah. He was a bit of a
was he named after Don Rickles?
I assume so.
I assume so too, because he's supposed to be funny. He's the funny man, so he's not really funny. He kind of laughs like a hyena.
Yeah.
And these guys they're like roughnecks. These guys are like the guys you have do the dirty jobs. The guys that they're kind of working class guys.
It's like they have shipwreck over here.
Yeah, they've kind of they've taken the stress in a different way. They've kind of degenerated, kind of devolved, kind of went back in age a little bit. They're acting very immature. Maybe they're like this beforehand, but there's definitely like a childishness
I kind of
to them.
assume so. I assume that that they're not big thinkers.
They just deal with what's in front of them.
Yeah.
They roll up in a buggy and they ask what they found. And they say nothing. Nothing. How far? And they say 100 miles each way. Then Rickles tells Miguel, "Jump in here, soldier. We got to grab 2 more zombies." He calls them something else, but we'll say zombies. Sarah points out that Miguel has been up for 24 hours. Can't they get anyone else? Steele says, "What? Anyone else? There isn't anyone else. We're it." I would think that you would want the guy to go to sleep. That's kind of you don't want a guy operating a forklift when he's been up for 24 hours, much less handling zombies. I mean, are they in that much of a rush? It seems kind of I don't know. It seems kind of weird that they would hey, let's do this tomorrow, guys.
Yeah, I mean
they need it for the
weird
research.
thing. Their determination to like just keep helping the scientists by putting themselves in that position like constantly was, I don't know. And also, where did the zombies come from? That's the one question that I never had answered, is why are they nowhere else but they're like in that one place? Like, is there an opening somewhere? Like, it really didn't make sense to me.
I'm guessing maybe they captured a bunch of them before things got really bad. Maybe they had like a bigger team there. I don't know.
They go and corral them up top, and then they bring them down, and they kind of keep them tied up for future use.
So Sarah and Miguel, they both hop on the buggy, and we see that they're in the Seminole storage facility, and we got some trailers, maximum security office, and what else we got going on here? They got a big corral, and yeah, Sarah watches John and Bill leave, and as they go to the corral, and she's kind of salty about it because they aren't helping. But why should they help? Stupid, but we'll see that. Going down my list here. They start making noise and calling the zombies names, and a few approach.
Lots of profanity in this movie. Lots of really glorious, like pretty well written profanity. Like Romero had a field day.
if you're going with no rating, you might as well put the naughty words in there.
I watched this movie while my mother-in-law was here eating dinner with us. Like I just slipped away to watch it. I'm like, oops, it's kind of loud, but
oh geez.
Yeah.
Sarah sees a chart and points out that the chart says that none have been pulled out since the 15th, and that can't be right. Rickles replies, "Oh yeah, we forget to write them up sometimes." She's like, "You forget to write them
he
up?
lacks military discipline.
Can you get that through your thick skull? How the hell are we supposed to know how many we've got left?" She's kind of talking down to people again. It's kind of ridiculous keeping up. This level of attention to detail when things are this far gone. There's only 12 people left alive. It's but it's keeping her going. She's kind of the office stooge. She's
well, her objection makes sense. It takes a lot to go up top to get the dummies. And they got to know how many they have on deck. I guess. I mean, he should do his job.
He should. I think though that these guys kind of realize the writing is on the wall.
Like, of course.
To a much larger degree
than
she does.
If you're not getting paid anymore,
Mm-hmm.
It's whatever sense of duty they still have or don't have. Like, and Sarah's still has her sense of duty, I guess.
They're full on Dillagaff, and she is the scout.
Yeah.
Steele lets out a guttural scream, calling for the zombies, and Miguel watches intently. Rickles points out that they're scared. They know what'll happen when Frankenstein gets them. And she says, "If you're right, Rickles, they're learning. They're actually learning." We got here. Here's Steele. Steele is kind of the foreman of the group. Would you say that's about right, guys? He's kind of the NCO.
Yeah, he's like Sergeant Rock.
He said, "Yeah, that's a great Sergeant Rock." If he's still here, what's going on here? Trembling colors. Yeah, good call.
Yep.
You guys can see that, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, Trembling, you just need to come on the show, like take my spot or something. You'd probably be better at this than I am.
No way, man. We need you here, Garlock. You're essential. You're an essential worker at the JimStrangeTv operation.
Well, hey, look, I got my mask,
Yeah, there we go.
Has Trembling ever been on a show or no?
He is the man of mystery. He likes hanging in the shadows.
He's the voice from behind the curtain.
Speaking of Trembling, he pointed something out to me earlier today. He thinks that it's very possible that he is a John Milius pastiche, much like John Goodman was in the Big Lebowski.
Huh.
He always did kind of remind me of Goodman and the Big Lebowski. So maybe they're kind of playing off John Milius here a little bit. John Milius was a pretty big man around town around this time.
Yeah, until he got blacklisted.
And these are
not for anything bad, just for being, right wing. He didn't do anything illegal.
The more things change.
Yeah. He made some good movies. Really good movies.
These uniforms are kind of reminiscent of Apocalypse Now, but I guess that was just kind of what military uniforms looked like back then. The kind of classic army man look that we all grew up with as kids.
Or Romero just didn't do any research. Who knows? I mean, maybe it's just just get some green coveralls. Like, we're good.
We'll just get some leftover Apocalypse Now duds going. Steele makes some innuendos about his anatomy towards Sarah. She replies that he's only capable of exciting her as an anthropological curiosity.
Which means
they sexually harass her with dick jokes. Again, she's kind of just talking down to everybody, and they're kind of giving her shit, like in a very lowbrow manner. But it seems kind of like a two-way street. It shows the two sides are not gelling. I think that's what this is very what this is showing here.
What's interesting about this is it hasn't like completely devolved into like total like caveman anarchy, because like she is the sole female like in a group of dudes, and her boyfriend isn't exactly like the super hardcore protective type. So like they still are like pretty much abiding by the social contract, more or less, that they're not going to like, you know, have their way with her, like do bad things to her. But you know, they'll make some crude, lewd comments. But you know,
things are breaking down, and you can see things maybe going that way. But these guys, yeah, you're right. They are still definitely going by a social contract. Miguel, the scared guy, he's cracking up. Sarah offers to go up and wrangle the zombie. Steele points out that she's not strong enough. She says she's done it a dozen times, but Steele insists Miguel do it. He's collapsing, for Christ's sake. Look at him. He tells her, let go of the GD pole. And they go start snaring some zombies. They probably should get Miguel out of there. I mean, it's he's kind of done for. But, you know, maybe Steele's judgment here is that maybe Miguel's the guy they needed to, you know, do it. I don't know. But I think they probably should have just got.
I think Miguel is just like inherently a wimp, because the whole like he's been up for 24 hours. Like I was up for 48 hours moving my shit here, you know, like it's not a big deal. Like I think he's just a candy ass, you know.
Well, they're also.
I don't think he was ever a hard charger.
No, I don't think he was either. But you know, not everybody's prepared to deal with being one of the last 12 people on Earth.
Well, we at JimStrangeTv sure as hell are, you know.
All right. Miguel has one of the zombies. He has one, but one of them whacks the pole out of his hand. The zombie gets loose. The pole is whacked, and it almost grabs Rickles until Sarah, who wanted to be up there the whole time, snags the pole and saves Rickles. Oh, here we go. And she's got it. Miguel, to his credit, he looks mortified. Miguel's really not fitting into the social hierarchy. He's the low man on the totem pole, and he's desperately hanging on. But it's not helping that Sarah's kind of talking down to him in front of everybody, and he's trying to do his part. But you know, he just he's kind of slipping out of it, man. And
I think what they should have done with Miguel is like let him like stay somewhere just by himself for a while and chill out, and then he would be better. But now they keep pushing him.
Well,
like,
you know, they could have found something for him to do that wasn't, you know, the most dangerous job in the entire place. Maybe have him go wash pots and pans.
Yeah.
You know,
be a lab assistant.
Something, man, something. But no, it shouldn't be. But there he's looking mortified, and he's like, "Oh man, like I blew it." And Steele is pissed. He takes off his gun and helmet. And he grabs Miguel by the lapel, and angrily points out that he almost killed Rickles. He's quite the hulking figure here, and does a great job as coming across as very intimidating. He's kind of like a John Goodman without the charm. That's what I wrote down. He starts pushing Miguel's head towards the corral, where a zombie is trying to grab him. Sarah says, "Let him go. He shouldn't have been up there in the first place," but he continues to choke Miguel. What we got here, and this is interesting. We got the hands of the dead, and they're literally reaching towards Christ. I thought that was I don't know if it's intentional or not, but a nice little bit of symbolism there. That even in hell, even in the land of the dead, these people are still reaching out for God in a way.
That's a good catch, man. When there's no room left on earth, or there's no room in hell, the dead will walk the earth. Yeah, there you go. But it doesn't say if heaven's full. Yeah.
That's true. That's true. Steele is kind of oh, I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Sarah pulls out a gun and tells Steele to let Miguel go, or should cut him in half. Kind of a Ripley-esque, I thought. Kind of very,
yeah,
very assertive. We got here. Oh, we're getting ahead of ourselves again. Steele just kind of just throws Miguel across the room. And the next scene, Miguel and Steele are locking the zombies up in a lab. And these are some sorry-looking zombies they have here. And Miguel starts shouting, no, not Miguel, Rickles, I think, says, I hope you effing rot. Steele says that he hopes they get chopped up in a dog food. And as they leave...
I mean, technically, they're already rotting,
Miguel drops one final middle finger. I'm not Miguel, I'm sorry, Rickles does, the comedian in the group. Yeah. And it was very kind of childish, but it popped me, I get it in the wrestling parlance, not the other one. These guys are churlish, but they're just kind of simple guys who are dealing with a lot of trauma and having they have a stupid, dangerous, and meaningless job. Their job sucks.
Lord knows that we've had our fair share of those, Jim?
Yeah, so I could see having a Rickles in your crew when you're at your job that's really lame. These guys, this couple here, they're looking pretty dejected. They're very downtrodden, and they're miserable. These zombies are miserable, and they should really be put out of their misery, I think.
I don't know if they got to this yet, but at one point they actually talk about the odds, like the ratio is like 400,000 to 1. Yeah.
So I somebody did the math about how many people that was, but I forgot the number because I can't add. Make Miguel the cook. I agree. Make him shine shoes. Make him do something, man. Now there's major leadership vacuum here. That's okay. Okay, we got Sarah now. She's getting a syringe ready, and she's going to dope Miguel up.
This is one thing that I did like about her, that she's doing that for him. It's like, even though he's like just freaking breaking down and it's probably a complete embarrassment to her, she's sticking by his side.
She says, you need a sedative, acting dangerously. You need to help Miguel. And I says, I don't need your help. You made me look like an a-hole out there. And tells her to stay away from him with that. Then he starts slapping her for some reason, and then collapses in her arms crying. And as he does so, she slams the needle into him, and he recoils in horror because in his mind, he's been betrayed. Like he's kind of been he's let down the crew. Sarah has been making him look like a jerk in his eyes, and he's been betrayed. But it's also kind of a boo-hoo kind of thing. It's kind of...
I never found Miguel to be the remotest sympathetic character at all. Like I did not feel sorry for him. I did not, and I think that's kind of the point. Is that this guy's losing his shit.
I'm trying. I'm trying to paint a little bit of humanity into this, but yeah, it's
no. Okay, like, so maybe I'm just a monster, but you ever have those people where like you go to work or something and like somebody like just lost somebody and they're really, really sad and you're just like, you just don't want to be there. Like, can this person just shut up? And like, I don't, that's Miguel, this whole movie.
He definitely sets off an instinct, like get this guy out of here. Like a very dark instinct.
Yeah, get the hook.
This guy,
get the hook.
He is the weak one in the pack. And we gotta, but I think going with his story arc here, I think it's good to kind of illustrate it from his point of view. And in his mind, he's probably been betrayed. I don't think that's the case. I think she's the only one here trying to help him. I think the others might actually just frag him. But she's
I mean, she's definitely helping him. Like he's the only one getting laid. I mean, I assume. I mean, maybe some of the.
Gotta love hanging the Uzi on the coat rack. That's true.
Yeah. See, we would have missed that trembling. Let's. You rock. You rock.
And also, I think nobody likes being injected with something against their will. I think there's
Oh
a bit
yeah,
of
for
a.
sure, for sure. Like I think that was a total dick move on her part, was to
Mhm.
just stab him without his consent. But at the same time, like somebody probably just needed to either do that or just hit him, over the head with a rock or something, just knock his ass out. Which
Well,
comes later.
which comes later. Miguel is upset. Sarah leaves. Miguel collapses into tears in the bed. The next shot, we see John Amplis as Dr. Ted Fisher, demanding that they get sterile conditions from Captain Rhodes. And John Amplis is the star of Romero's film Martin. Did you recognize him from Martin, Garlock? I haven't seen Martin. So.
Not at all. Honestly, he looks totally different. And I guess according to Trembling, he was also the mime in Knight Riders, right?
He was the mime.
Was?
Oh, geez. Well,
is that? I mean, I think that's
what. Now,
yeah, I have written down that he was in Knight Riders. I didn't realize he was the mime.
Honestly, I can see it.
Oh my goodness.
I didn't know until Trembling popped in with our Knight Riders thing, and I think Rhodes here looks like Bono. I mean,
Hey, they both got a god complex.
Yeah.
So
they're both like 47 Keurigs or whatever.
Rhodes tells him that he'll work with what he's got, and he's like, and Dr. Fisher says, "But it's madness. Can't you understand?" Rhodes points out, "Understand this? You and your playmates are running out of friends here." I didn't know he was Martin. Hey, maybe I was wrong. I don't know. I thought he was Martin, but I could be wrong. But I did get the information off the internet, so it's correct, right? I think Rhodes, to his credit, he's very plainly telling these guys, like, guys, the game's changed. You guys are out of friends here. You guys are gonna, and the scientist guy, I think, completely misreads this. I think Rhodes is basically saying, guys, we are now a might is right operation, and you're lucky we even let you live and feed you. And he's not, the scientist guy is not reading between the lines.
No, and like Rhodes took command pretty much as of this day, because his commanding officer, like, I assume, died of a heart attack or whatever, like natural causes, and then Colonel, what was his name? Colonel, I don't know. But this is Rhodes' first day of command. He's basically just going over the top and just like my way or the highway. Like,
it's kind of like when your job and there's a shift leader there, and they get promoted to a position, and then they kind of go out of control with new memos. They're like, all right, guys, like, this is how it's going to be from now on, because
we've all been there, except this with guns.
Yeah. Fisher says that Major Cooper made some promises. Rhodes says Major Cooper's dead. I'm in command now, and I'm telling you that you work with what you got, and you better start showing me some results, or you won't have that much longer.
Major Cooper, okay. I'll remember.
How can we show you results when we don't have the proper working conditions? Now, they kind of just go back and forth. I think Fisher's just begging for trouble at this point.
Well, the scientists seem to think that they're kind of Teflon coated. They think that, they're the whole reason for this operation, like to discover. I don't even know what their exact directive is supposed to be, if it's to discover like the source of the zombie outbreak or discover a way to end it. It seems like they're just taking whatever directive they were given and just doing whatever the hell they want with it. And Rhodes is understandably frustrated because there's zero results and his men are dying. Of course, that being said, he is still a megalomaniacal lunatic, but he has a point.
The scientists were kind of like the Prince, the cast down here, and they don't quite understand that doesn't really matter anymore, because much like the banks and the money blowing around, it's like, you know what, guys, if you guys don't get results, what good are you? We have the guns and the muscle, and
exactly.
They aren't getting it. And I think Rhodes is, to his credit, trying to let them know. And I think maybe they should have kind of capitulated to him a little bit here, and kind of but who knows?
Rhodes
I think
basically
that,
has a social contract in his hand, and he's like, you know.
and I think they look down on the soldiers. I think Sarah in particular, and they don't really want to give up that high ground they have socially.
Big time.
But yeah. What's going on here? Sarah says that we're in a desperate situation and we need each other. Rhodes says, "You need us the way I see it, lady. I'm not so sure we need you at all. And I'm not sure what the hell you're doing in there. Just what the hell is it my men are risking their butts for?" Sarah says, "Well, maybe if there's more cooperation around here, your men wouldn't have to risk their butts so often." And I think she's kind of throwing John and Bill under the bus a little bit.
A little bit, yeah. Maybe them, because I don't know. Maybe she wants the soldiers
Steele and the others.
I don't know.
Maybe she's calling Steele them jerks. But we got a great
Yeah.
shot. Steele's cocking his gun. He's like, "Yeah, cooperation."
Steele's pretty rad.
I think Steele is the Chad of the movie. If there's a Chad of the movie award, it would be him.
I don't know. He's kind of an evil Chad. The Chad's usually a nice.
I don't think he's evil. I think he's more lawful neutral.
Yeah.
Oh.
He has later on he shows he's given an opportunity where he could do something in just cold-blooded evil, and he tries to defuse the situation.
There are a couple scenes here, I think, Zach, that show he's not evil, but we will get to them. But
yes,
we will get there.
Well, there's the one that actually was right around here when he was told to shoot the girl, and he was going to do it, but then his gun was out of bullets. I thought that was...
You're getting ahead, Zach.
Miguel Salazar is in bad shape. I want him pulled off active duty until we can evaluate his condition. Rhodes says that he can't spare him. It's kind of a d-bag move by Rhodes. He's kind of putting everybody in danger. He's kind of putting Steele and Rickles and the others in danger by letting Miguel still,
He has a point, though. I mean, they really are short on manpower, and if they had duty rosters and shifts, they got to pick up his slack, and they're probably already pulling triple shifts or whatever because there's so few of them.
That's true. They should probably slow down. This whole thing is a disaster. This whole thing is just
it's a total rolling clusterfuck. It's a total dumpster fire.
He's seriously disturbed. He's close to the breaking point, and that's dangerous for all of us. He can't handle any more stress right now. And Rhodes says, well, maybe we should cut off his extracurricular activities, kind of referring to their relationship. Maybe I should put him in quarantine. And Steele says that he'll put him in a cage. Not a bad idea. Maybe give the rest of us a shot at some loving. So she's kind of being sexually hazed by these guys. Once again, the social contract is breaking down, and they aren't quite getting it.
Steele says that, but I don't think he'd actually follow through on it.
I don't think he would have. I think he's just a lout. He's just the
Yeah.
He's a guy who would be at a bar yelling dumb shit, But I don't think he's that kind of guy. Yeah. Rhodes says that he's calling a meeting. She says Miguel can't come because she gave him a sedative, and he tells not to give his men any drugs without his permission. That's a very good point.
It is.
She is going around the chain of command and behaving in a roguelike manner, and I think that's kind of a dumb move. Once again, she's just kind of not getting it.
One thing that they do point out is that it's a civilian operation with basically the military there is their bodyguards. So the scientists don't feel like they should have to take any orders or listen to the soldiers whatsoever. And Rhodes is coming in being like, well, yeah, you have to because, we have the guns. And
also, maybe if she wanted Miguel taken off, maybe she should have approached Rhodes solo, like not challenge him in front of all his men.
Yeah, that could have worked, appeal to his better nature, but I'm not sure he has one.
Right. Yeah, I think Rhodes is he does make some very good points, but I would say Rhodes is probably evil. What do you guys say?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
And
he's lawful evil for a while.
That makes sense. Yeah, lawful evil. Fisher points out that they've gone out of the frying pan into the fryer. He thought Cooper was an a-hole, but he was a sweetheart next to Rhodes. We could be in real trouble. You better watch yourself. And I mean, physically, watch yourself. She says, don't worry about it. We just need to pound some logic into their heads. Oh, so arrogant. Oh, geez.
Yeah. And I mean, he was giving her very good advice, very sound advice, which,
The world has ended. The social order is done. Fisher kind of gets it. Sarah doesn't get it at all. Where's Dr. Logan? Frankenstein? He's in his laboratory. Where else? And Frankenstein, the old scientist guy, he's talking into a tape recorder. And Sarah's looking around. And she's nearly grabbed by Bub. Here we go here. Bub is I think he's usually on the cover.
The reason we all watch this movie.
He's the mascot.
Yeah.
The closest thing to
Oh, I didn't get to show it off, and it's like very small right here. But here's my DVD, and it has
there's Bub.
Fold out Bub thing.
Nice.
It's pretty cool.
Steele's flaws. He will always follow orders. I think Steele is very beholden to social pressure, and I think he's absolutely influenced by Rhodes' evil. Well, necessarily not, being evil himself, but he is the guy who would put you on the train. He is.
Yeah, I mean, as a soldier, that might not necessarily be a flaw, but yeah, and he, later on it's shown that he doesn't do, he tries to defuse the situation when given like questionable orders. So
right, he's not he is maybe not an
he's
alpha.
not like
he's a Bravo.
He's a showers now, nothing like that.
Yeah,
Johnny Bravo.
He's not a brainiac.
No.
We got here. Oh, here's Dr. Frankenstein, and he's going on some evil scientist guy rant, where he's like, "The brain is the engine, Sarah." Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Alec.
Here's the thing about him, I mean, we'll get into him, but I don't think he's evil. I think he's just completely amoral. Like, he's true neutral. Like, he's doing, yeah, because he's
I think he's performing evil actions. He's not,
except for zombies.
He's certainly amoral.
Yeah,
he's
he's amoral, but not immoral.
He's dedicated to.
He just doesn't have a moral compass. It's not south. It's just non-existent.
I think he kind of represents like naive empiricism, like just a very pure materialistic view of life in the world, and it leads him to doing some monstrous things. Whereas I think Rhodes is more just driven by power and other things. He shows her a zombie. He has chained to a table with his organs all disconnected from his body. He has blood all over his hands. I don't think he's even wearing gloves here.
I think he wears gloves.
Yeah, does he? Okay, very mad scientist. Yeah. He's very. He is Jerry Lewis to the nth degree.
The guy, Richard Liberty, I haven't seen him in anything else, but his performance as Logan Frankenstein is just exemplary. It's awesome. It's totally great. I think.
Do you meet any guys like this in college, Zach? And you have any professors who are?
Yeah, I actually did. None in the science department, but one. This guy was very similar to my data analytics professor.
Okay, yeah, I can see that. He points out that the brain core, the lizard brain, is the last thing to be attacked by the decay, and that the zombies operate off of instinct. And he has a body who's had all of its head except for its brainstem removed. And he tells her its primitive instincts have been erased, and then he moves its arms with an electric charge. It's very Frankenstein-y.
Yeah.
And he says that they can be domesticated, behave the way they want them to behave. And Sarah very correctly points out that all it takes is 15 hours of fancy surgery only a handful of people are trained to do.
She's the effects in this movie, the Tom Savini gore and stuff, and just all the little set pieces with the half. Yeah, it's just phenomenal. I don't think I've ever seen a zombie movie with as good as gut munching gore effects as this movie.
It's true. She says, I thought we were going to stop working on the neurophysical and do something more practical. And he says he will not stop any work that might lead to an answer.
But he doesn't even know the question. Like, he doesn't even know what he's trying to do. Like, right. Are you trying to shut him off? Are you trying to... Well, he wants to control them. But...
I have not seen The Crazies.
I've only seen the remake of The Crazies.
Is it pretty good, guys? The Crazies?
I've only seen the remake.
She says, yours proven theories that were advanced months ago. You're wasting time. She then points out that it's extremely dangerous to go up top and round them up where they can't control them. Dr. Logan, we are losing the cooperation of the men. I'm not even sure they'll go up top and when you run out of the specimens we already have. And I'm not sure they won't try to just shut us down completely. Logan says, whoa, he'll show them results. And he goes on about how they can condition the zombies. She sees the uniform of Major Cooper, and she realizes that he's using the dead Major's body to do extremely bizarre experiments on. Yeah, I think this is a major breach of ethics here, that he's doing this to the Major's body. And I think she is complicit. I think she should have snitched him out right away. This is one of them, and it's been really shown the merciful thing that...
How stupid is he for keeping the uniform around, Like,
yeah. It's been shown that nobody wants to come back as one of these things, and they're all like, "Oh, please, shoot me in the head, please, if this happens to me," over and over again. But here he is keeping this miserable thing alive, and it's an abomination. And so Sarah, I think Sarah's more than a little bit complicit here.
Yeah.
Logan points out that he needs the body and he's helping them more now than he ever did when he was alive. If you have a purely materialistic worldview, that would probably make sense because humans are just lumps of cells that, do things based on chemical reactions. So who cares? I think Logan wants to be God in a way, and he's getting a big kick out of playing God. And I think Rhodes does too in a different kind of way. They're kind of yin and yang characters here. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I didn't actually think about that, but they are. That's actually the thing that went over my head when I first watched the movie. But they're both kind of like the alphas in their own little field.
He kind of reminds me of the bad guy in Demolition Man a little bit too, Garlock.
Oh yeah, but yeah, they're definitely equal and opposite, like Frankenstein and Rhodes.
Jesus God Logan, do you know what they'll do to you if they find out about this? What they'll do to all of us? And he says they'll never find out. He can't be recognized. And then the zombie with the separated guts rolls over and all of its insides flop onto the floor. And then Frankenstein very coldly puts a drill through its head.
Yeah.
It seems kind of a waste. Like if you're going to do this crazy experimentation, why are you killing it right away just because it grossed you out?
The cool thing about this scene that I'd never seen in another zombie movie was where he explained that the zombies aren't actually eating body parts to get any sort of nourishment because they don't process anything. So it's like, honestly, they're continually rotting. And like, I always had it in my head that when zombies ate something, it would kind of stop the decaying and feed them and nourish them. By this logic, they could literally, just wait and the zombies would all rot completely in a matter of time.
Yeah,
they said 10 to 12 years they last. So if they just hid out for 12 years, then they could go back up topside. And, I mean, there'd be a lot of flies, but the zombies would all be dead by then. But yeah, in Return of the Living Dead, they eat the brains, so that actually helps them like a drug to keep them from feeling dead. But the Romero zombies are just pure instinct. They just eat warm blood, guts, and flesh just because that's what they want to do. It doesn't help them any. It doesn't nourish them. They just do it because they're ghouls from hell, I mean.
There's a big meeting going on, and they're holding a big palaver over what's happening. Bill points out that the equipment he's been using has been down here since the Second World War. Excuse me. So that'd be 1985 now, about 40 years old.
40 years, 40, 50 years.
Yeah.
45 years.
Steele tells him to get it working right and lay off the booze, why don't you? And he slams a beer can on the table as he does so, kind of ironic.
What's the difference between slogging down a couple brewskis and just like, taking a nip at the flask every 5 minutes,
Yeah. Bill says that down there long enough, we'll have to let the booze because there won't be any left. And he uses much more profanity than I did.
Yeah.
And Steele says, yeah, well, your best ain't good enough. And Bill replies, you think I'm not aware of our situation? You think I want to stay isolated down here? I'd make a desperate effort to raise somebody just in the hope of getting away from your nasty mouth, Steele. And he says the fact is that there seems like there's nobody left. Like we're just kind of, there's nobody in range of my puny little World War II radio.
That's kind of like the question in this movie. Like, you don't actually know if they're the last people left or not, because they do state like there are better bunkers like in Washington or wherever with better equipment, but maybe they're not able to transmit or whatever. So you don't know whether or not these are the last people on Earth. They could be.
Soldier asks why they can't get a hold of Washington anymore, and Bill tells him the power is off in the mainland, and if you haven't heard, all the shopping malls are closed.
I love that.
So things are far along now. They bicker some more, and Sarah says that she's had enough of listening to this kindergarten. Are they finished here? Oh, Jesus Christ, man. Like, so much condescension. So much.
Yeah.
That's like, oh, geez. Rhodes says that they're not finished here. Sarah says they give them everything they want. And Rhodes says that they've given him a mouthful of Greek salad. Formulas, equations, a lot of fancy terms that don't mean a thing. Major communications gap between the two groups. And I blame the scientists because they are trying to maintain their social strata here. And are doing so by kind of giving these guys gobbledygook.
Yeah.
And also, Sarah literally goes out of her way to point out that she's smarter than they are at every turn. And has kind of been passive-aggressively flexing on everyone, including Miguel.
She's not good at making friends or influencing people.
Absolutely not. Rhodes says, I don't know if you're doing something that'll help us out of this trouble we're in, or if you're all in there just jerking each other off.
They're B.
They are. They're goofing here.
Yeah.
All right. Rhodes says they ain't finished here yet. Tells her to sit down. Oh my God, I'll have you shot. And she's like, have you lost your mind? No, ma'am, have you? I just told his one to kill you if you didn't get back in your chair. And you didn't get back in your chair. Dr. Fisher slams the desk and says they can't shove them around like this. Looks to me like he just did. Since when did this become a military operation? Since I took over, Steele, shoot that woman. Steele says, bang, you're dead with the finger gun. And I think Steele,
shot, man.
I think he's trying to diffuse the situation because I don't think Steele wants to shoot her. Because I think Steele knows in his heart of hearts that Sarah's not a bad person and she's actually pretty useful. You know, she's pretty competent and is getting some stuff. She's helping out with everything. So
Rhodes is pretty much like cracking up. He's about to flip his lid. He's becoming like a tyrant, megalomaniacal tyrant.
Well, I think Steele is one of the more moral characters in the movie. If maybe not the nicest. Rhodes then pulls a gun on Steele. Yeah, totally. Rhodes pulls a gun on Steele and commands him to shoot Sarah. Says he has the count of 5. That's 2 he's wasted. It seems a little bit over the top. Maybe not the way to maintain the loyalty of your men, I would think. I would think this would get you fragged, but you know what do I know? I've never been in a zombie bunker with army men before.
I agree.
John, the wisest possibly of this crew, gets out of his chair and tells Sarah to sit down. She's about to get people killed because we're dealing with a legit psychopath here. And Steele points his gun at Sarah. And as he does so, John reaches for his gun, but Sarah shouts no. And she says, yeah, I'll sit down. But she slams the chair, knocks some stuff off the table.
Like the little petulant display probably wasn't needed, to like end this whole situation. She probably just should have been calm and like, okay, like let's figure everything out. Like these guys are obviously off balance. They have all the guns. Like maybe don't have a tantrum,
Okay, I'm not. This isn't a GD field trip, people. This is an effing war. I'm not down here to play games. I'm down here on orders. Fisher points out that his orders are to facilitate the job of the scientific team. This is a civilian team, and we don't have to be subjected to your tyranny. Oh my goodness. Who is being subjected to what, Fisher? You've lost 1 man. We've lost 5. That's fair. Where does it say we've got to keep those zombies next to where we sleep? Where does it say we shoot anything but shoot the mothers in the head? I agree. I think Rhodes is in the right here. What do you guys think?
Well, like Frankenstein's. Go ahead, Zach.
I was gonna say I think he's in the right because when you watch like everything that Frankenstein's doing later, it really does seem to amount to nothing, and people are dying for it. There's not. I don't think they're actually working towards any tangible benefit. They're just at this point they need to just focus on surviving. Like I would, honestly, everyone should just follow whoever the Jamaican dude's name is and take all their supplies and go off to an island.
They should sneak off to the helicopter where the army guys are asleep and just leave. That's at this point.
If Frankenstein actually was able to like figure out that the zombies like they're the spark of life is just in this little like stem inside their brain, and if he actually figured that out, that was good work. But they said that he was just going off of things that they learned months ago. So I mean, really, like knowing that, they should figure out a way to like disable that and everybody like through something like sonics or something to maybe electricity fry them.
I think this kind of illustrates the danger of making science a god, because these guys, the soldiers, still have a kind of faith in like the scientist guys will fix it, right? I mean, that's what they do. Maybe if Frankenstein's up to something, I think they have hope. I think Frankenstein gives them hope to some degree, and that's why they haven't just left. And I think they put their hope in the wrong man here. I don't think he's the kind of guy you put your hope in.
Maybe he's just a crazy butcher. Like it's hard to tell. Like he's obviously like kind of unbalanced, but
yeah, and he talks the same way as that guy. They always call him the weird something guy. Like he was the weird Arby's guy. One time he was the weird
Satan guy. Yeah. I know that guy.
That dude is freaking awesome. But they talk exactly the same.
And I think that is that guy. I wonder if that guy really talks like that, or if he's doing a bit the entire time. I don't know. But he says, "You don't have enough ammunition, Captain, to shoot them all in the head. The time to have done that would have been at the beginning. No, we let them overrun us. They have overrun us. We're in the minority now. Something like 400,000 to 1 by my calculations." Rhodes reprimands Logan for being late. Wants to know what he's doing with his time. And he says, "If we're just jerking off here, I'm going to have my men blow the piss out of your precious specimens. And then me and my men are getting out of here and leave you and your highfalutin friends to rot in the stinking sewer. Is that food enough for you?" It's yeah, he's very direct, man. He's very
Rhodes.
You gotta give it to Rhodes, man. He's right then is when like, oh, okay, you're right. Let's all meet back here tomorrow and we'll show you something really cool, Rhodes. And then sneak the fuck it. Just get in the helicopter and leave, man.
Yeah.
It's time. It's time to go. It's time to go right here. He says, "Where would you go, Captain? You really think you can blow the piss out of all of them? They have you in a hopeless situation strategically. You're lost unless you can make them behave." And I like how he refers to strategy. It kind of shows that Frankenstein here has a little bit of the gift of gab. A little bit, not much, but enough. He can speak Rhodes' language.
He says all this with this sort of smug self-assuredness. It's like he's mugging for a non-existent camera.
And they buy it, and they buy it. Rhodes asks what that means, and Frankenstein gives off some gibberish about keeping them in check and controlling them. So is there any kind of way this guy's research would have been applicable in real life?
I couldn't see it. I mean, theoretically, if there were like, they were able to like implement it, but if it's just them, then like absolutely not. Like if it's only, a couple of scientists and a handful of soldiers, like
maybe if they had, if there was like
little,
maybe if there was a few hundred guys still alive, maybe they could do something with this. But even then, it's like, what are you guys gonna do?
it's like
Are you
you're
gonna?
going to take the zombies to daycare and get them to be somewhat less dangerous. Like I just don't get it.
There's zero practical use for any of this. This is all just garbage. This is all...
I always thought the whole domesticate zombies thing is just weird. Like it works at the very end of Shaun of the Dead, just as a lark, like, oh, Ed's in the shack and he can still play video games, but you better keep him chained up or else he'll eat you. And later on, Romero, Survival of the Dead, like it's big on like, oh, well, they're our family, like we can domesticate them. No, you can't just fucking kill them, But like that's what.
You ever seen the movie Fido? I think it was called.
I haven't seen it, but I heard about
it. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I used to see it in the video store a lot, but I never.
But my old roommate watched it. I was like, that sounds dumb. I'm not watching, but I peeked my head in. It was dumb, but maybe it's a fun dumb. I don't know.
I heard it's cool, but I haven't seen
it. When are you going to show us something we can understand? Sarah says it may take months or years, and this pisses everyone off. And Frankenstein raises his voice, and he's like, Sarah's research is more esoteric than mine. She's looking for a way to reverse the process, a way to eradicate the problem. That may take a long time, a very long time. She may never find what she's looking for. We have a limited supply of chemical agents. Our equipment is hopelessly inadequate. And Rhodes is pissed off now because nothing works. Sarah butts in that this operation was rushed and put together in a matter of days. I think that's about the only backstory we get for this whole thing.
Yeah, probably because the last-ditch effort by the Pentagon to do something before they were overrun. Like they probably had zombies at the gates, like billions of zombies, like outside the Pentagon when these orders went through.
Rhodes says, "Yeah, it can all be taken apart in a matter of minutes, lady. I'm ready to take the next train out of here." And Frankenstein asks him again, "Where would you go?" You have no choices. You have to give us the weeks that we've asked for. Sarah then suggests waiting for Washington to find them, which is like, there's no more Washington, Sarah. Sorry. Rhodes says, you have a little bit more time, not saying how much, but you better start showing me results, and you better not piss me off. Nothing happens right here without me knowing about it, and if anyone messes with this command, they get court-martialed and executed. So again, the similar sides of the playing God coin, they both enjoy having the power of life and death.
At least Rhodes is like willing to give him a heads up and give him like, look, I mean, he's not just going off and yet, and just capping.
I think Rhodes is in the right here. I mean, I think maybe he should have just left all those people here. I don't know, but I think at this point these two groups cannot get along, and maybe they I don't know. I don't know what the solution is.
And nothing's being accomplished. Like nothing.
Yeah, it's just a waste of time and it's dangerous and dumb.
Yep.
Also, Romero does not really care for authority figures, whether it be the military or whether it be science man. And they're all leaving, and Sarah remarks that she can't believe he would have done it. John butts in and says he won't shoot Billy because he can run the radio. He won't shoot me because I'm his bride. And he won't shoot Frankenstein because the old doc can talk him silly. But the rest of you better start worrying. And this is a great kind of commentary. When things get bad, you better be useful.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you're not a useful human being, if you don't have some pragmatic, things you can do for people, like,
you're getting kicked off the island pretty quick.
Yeah. Sarah says, maybe if we start working together, we can ease some of the tensions. We're all pulling in different directions. That's kind of weird, her trying to be the, bring people together when she's been...
Yeah, I mean, she's totally
gas on fire the whole time.
She pisses off everybody. Whoops.
It's a relatable situation where you have different groups of people with different core values who should be working together, who aren't, and I'll leave it at that. John says that's the problem in the world, darling. People have different ideas about what they want out of life. Sarah then
John
goes
gets
to
the
sleep.
best line of this movie. He has the
He
best
does.
dialogue.
He is the. I think he's kind of Romero, the Romero analog.
Yeah, he's like the only one with any sort of wisdom, and he tries to impart it upon unlistening ears.
Sarah goes to sleep and dreams that Miguel leans over and his insides fall out, like the zombie in the lab earlier. Miguel catches her having a
real
bad
quick
dream.
aside about the guts in this movie.
Yes.
I watched the behind the scenes stuff, and the guts in this movie are real guts. Like, obviously not human guts, but they use like animal, sheep intestines and stuff for all the gut scenes. And they, some of them went really bad, and they got really sneaky and actually made people sick. But like, that's why the guts in this movie are so awesome, because they're actually real fucking guts.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That's Thomas Savini's for you. He went all the way.
Yeah.
He's the king. Miguel catches her having a bad dream and says, "You are afraid, just as afraid as I am. Why don't you take a sedative, Sarah? So you can sleep." I don't think she's as afraid as he is, but
I don't think anybody is.
Tells her that she's full of it and that he's through with her. She tells him to get out of her room, and he grabs his gear and leaves. It's kind of an ugly situation.
Yeah,
Miguel's thoroughly unlikable.
Yeah. He's really kind of digging himself a hole here.
He had it made. He had like a girl that's like sticking with him like that, and then he just freaking goes off.
You know, if you think about it, he had it better off than everybody down here.
Yeah.
He did. He has the lady. He's got the roommate. You know, and he's still kind of What's the parable here? I think there's a. We'll come back to it. How about we come back to it?
Yeah, to be honest, I know we won't come back to it, but I really got confused thinking about it, especially trying to apply like a religious angle to it, and I couldn't come up with anything. I think you hit something with the Judas thing, but it's he's a confusing situation.
Miguel really is.
There's a lot of weakness. He's a fucking Rudy Poo, man.
Oh, go ahead, Yarlick.
Miguel's just the liability, and knowing that he's, knowing what happens at the end of the movie, they probably should have just kept him under lock and key, because.
Well, again, we'll come back to that, and Steele figures into this equation here.
But yeah, Miguel.
She walks. This is true. I think more of anything, I think we're trying to get at what was Romero trying to tell us with Miguel, because usually Miguel
fucking wimp,
well, usually Romero has some kind of deeper message with these kind of characters.
I didn't really get one from Miguel. Just he's a useless turd,
That could be it, man. Maybe that's the only reason. Maybe he just reminds him of somebody he worked with or something. Maybe he knew a guy named Miguel he didn't like.
Yeah.
She walks by Frankenstein's lab and a zombie's going crazy. And then a door explodes open and all of these soldiers are fighting. And there is a very similar scene in Knight Riders where the Knight Riders get into a brawl for no reason. Remember that?
Yeah, that was cool.
Bill, the radio man, sees this happening and he swoops in and grabs Sarah. He offers her some booze. She rejects it, but then takes some. And then he takes her back to the trailer on the other end of the compound.
And the trailer is freaking awesome.
It is. Bill says they don't get many visitors out here, and they like it that way. And what we got here? It's the Ritz. Yeah, there's Bill showing her the Ritz. They've got what else they got here? God bless this home. And they got some candles going, a little bit of ambiance, but I think just a nice little nod, like there's a little bit of normalcy here. They kind of have these guys are the more spiritually minded of the crew, and it allows them to stay grounded in this craziness.
Yeah, definitely, absolutely. Like, I mean, Bill needs his booze, and I'm sure like John's, like smoking the devil's lettuce, but
Yeah.
they are the cooler heads.
They find John in the back, which he's made to look like a mock beach scene. Let's take a look here. Oh man, look at that! All right.
Yeah, that was pretty sweet.
He says, "Welcome to civilization, Sarah, the last holdout." And it's a little safer where you are, but Billy Boy and me like to live dangerously. So I'm guessing it's not as secure out here, but that's okay. These guys are kind of living on the outskirts of society, almost like survivalist, in a way, where they're out in the middle of nowhere.
Isn't there little hidey hole there, like kind of on the other side of like where all the zombies are? Like,
Well, this is a very big compound. Isn't it 15 miles long or something? So
something like that. But there are like loose zombies, I think, that they got to go grab every once in a while, I think.
I'm guessing maybe they took a go-kart to get here. They have golf carts down here.
Yeah.
Sarah says that's a lie. I haven't seen you guys do anything dangerous since we got here. Well, she's kind of taking a dig at him. And he says, "Hey, we're sticking around. That's getting a bit dangerous," which is, yeah. And their eyes, like, man, we can just fly out of here anytime, lady. What are you talking about? Sarah says, "You're a mystery to me. Not like those other goons in there. You have a sense of something." And he says it takes more energy to keep quiet than it does to speak. So speak your mind. And she chastises him for being there and eating their food and drinking their water and not lifting a finger to help. John thinks this is funny, and he says that we don't believe in what you're doing, Sarah. And then he points out that they keep books, records, the top 500 companies, Defense Department budget, microfilm with tax return and newspaper stories, natural disasters, etc. They have all these records down here, is what he's getting at. And he says, what good does it do? This place is a great big 14-mile tombstone. With an epitaph on it. Tombstone. Oh.
Yeah, I love it how he echoes out, and then you hear kind of the moans of the dead just to remind you that like they're right there. Like,
Good call.
Yeah. Like in this whole paradise thing, it's a facade because just outside the door, we're like, zombies, children.
Oh, here's Colors. Maybe Miguel is a reflection of his hippie generation. Nothing's ever good enough for them, and they just make things worse. Man, that's as good as take as any. Trembling. That's
yeah, boomers.
I guess that's right. Miguel would technically be a boomer now, wouldn't he?
Yeah, he's a bit of a hippie.
These are all boomers.
And he's kind of spoiled, man. He's kind of spoiled. He has the lady. Nobody else has a lady down there. He gets the. It's not like Steele and Rickles have any emotional support. They probably go to bed in a cot. Drinking beer. It's
maybe they spoon each other. You don't know. Who knows?
Yeah, that's
yeah. Don't ask.
Hopefully, there's not a director's cut of this. And he says, "Now here you come with a bunch of new charts and records. And what are you going to do? Bury them down here with all the other relics of what once was?" And then he says something I thought kind of profound. You ain't ever going to figure it out, just like they never figured out where the stars are, where they're at. And it's not mankind's job to figure that stuff out. So what you're doing is a waste of time, Sarah. And time is all we've got left. She says, "I'm doing all there is left to do." And he says, "Shame on you. There's plenty to do." So as long as there's you and me, maybe some other people, we can start fresh, start over, get some babies, and teach them to never, ever come over here and dig these records out.
I like that because that was basically him saying, like, I want to make babies with you.
It was very smooth on like so many levels. He's a smooth operator.
Super smooth,
but there's also there's also a lot of wisdom here.
Oh yeah.
There are rabbit holes and paths you can go down in life that are very, very interesting that do us zero good.
Yes, I've been on them for quite some time.
I think a lot of us, unfortunately, have been down some rabbit holes, and you get to the bottom, and you're like, man, this is pointless. And then you got to crawl out of the rabbit hole, and then you got to get back on the righteous path. And he's kind of expressing like a almost biblical way of life, in that we're supposed to be doing, these certain things here on this world, and not trying to be God. And if you try to be God, you're going to cause some problems. And he has there's a lot of hubris going on all around him, but he keeps this very level spiritual approach, which I appreciate.
One thing I appreciate about Romero's Dead trilogy, the first three, is that, okay, like, I'll actually have to use like the less politically correct word, but like all the protagonists, the main heroic protagonists of the first three zombie movies are black men. Like I can't call them African American because I don't think John is necessarily African American. I don't know what his nationality is, but I think it's really cool that I mean, Romero got a lot of flack for it in Night of the Living Dead. It was unheard of having a black man as the lead heroic character. And I continued with Ken Free, and then continues here with John. And in a way, in Land of the Dead, it continues with Big Daddy, who's actually a zombie, but he's the most likable person in the movie. So I just want to point that out.
Morgan and I are going to watch Land of the Dead here soon.
Oh, that's amazing.
And I really want to do it and do Mario Brothers back to back. That would be amazing. Because Mario Brothers, it has a similar plot, and they both have Dennis Hopper as the villain and John Leguizamo as the hero.
Huh.
But some more words of wisdom from John, and he says, "You want to put some kind of explanation down here before you leave. Here's one as good as any you'll ever find. We have been punished by the Creator. He visited a curse on us, so we might get a look at what hell was like. Maybe didn't want to see us blow ourselves up and put a big hole in the sky. Maybe you want to show us that he's still a boss man, and maybe we're getting too big for our britches, trying to figure his shit out." Best speech of the movie, I thought. Best speech of the movie.
Yeah, it's amazing, and it really goes back to Ken Free and Dawn of the Dead. Saying when there's no more room in hell, the dead will walk the earth. Like it kind of brings the sort of dark spirituality to the whole thing.
I think that this movie is a lot deeper than Night Riders was, strangely enough, even though it's not as long, I guess. But it's very
nothing's as long as nothing as long as Night Riders.
I think he says what he meant to say with this movie, and it's very much about man's hubris, whether it be holding power over another, with a gun or through knowledge. And
one of the oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead, Garlic.
One of the big criticisms of this movie is that it's basically just a bunch of unlikable people like bickering at each other the whole time, and a bunch of bloodshed. But I mean, that's what it's going to be. Like, if it's the last, it just shows, like, I think what Romero's trying to say in this movie is that, like, the human condition is that, like, we're going to consume ourselves. Like, we can't get along. Like, it's really like almost misanthropic, and it's really kind of a downer. But yeah, I think what he's trying to say in this movie is that, like, we're not going to make it.
We are fallen creatures. Yeah. Sarah's in the lab now. She goes to get some aspirin again, and Fisher is fighting with a zombie. The zombie won't touch the beef treats that the zombie gave him. And this kind of goes back to what you're saying, Garlic. Logan points out that they're the same animal as us, just functioning less perfectly. So Logan kind of reveals that he views us all as animals, this very scientific view of humanity. Yeah. But I think what Romero is trying to do is kind of showing our worst nature reflected, via these things. Logan says they can be tricked into being good little girls and boys the same way we were tricked into it, with the promise of some reward to come. Reward is the key.
I like that scene. It's kind of it shows that he's a little bit untouched, and he's probably just like having some traumatic childhood flashback, like while I was saying that, like being locked in a closet, like I was.
Go a little behind us. Here's John giving his speech about what hell is like. Very profound. Here she is in the lab. Nope, getting ahead now. Logan playing God, control freak. He takes them to see Bub, now his star people. Bub has been responding so well lately. I've let him live. That's another kind of reflection of playing God.
Yeah.
Is
Definitely.
Bub alive or dead? That's the question these days. Let's say I've let him continue to exist. Very cold. This guy's a monster. At this point, I think it's pretty shown. Sarah and Fisher watch as he gives them some things to mess around with. They are amused, even though what they are witnessing is an affront to God and nature. That's what I wrote. Does that seem a little strong?
No, not really.
Okay. Bub, we have a razor, a toothbrush, and a Salem's Lot because Stephen King always gets a shout out.
Yeah, they're buddies.
They should have made him one of the guardsmen. That would have been cool. They should have made him Rickles. No, I don't know.
Well, Greg Nicotero, who's an effects guy, is in this. I think he plays Rickles or somebody.
He went on to work on The Walking Dead. Am I correct? Does that sound right, guys?
Yeah, that, and he also did Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, the one just called Leather.
Okay.
The effects for that with it also had story in it.
Yep.
Bob picks up Salem's Lot and looks around. He starts shredding his face with the razor. Fisher says, "Yeah, I once saw when this thing started to drive a car. Like, who cares?" Sarah says that it's amazing that Bob doesn't freak out when Logan walks in the room. Rhodes and Steele show up. Logan hands Bub a phone, asks him to say hello to his Aunt Alicia. Bub kind of groans out the words, "Hello, Aunt Alicia." And Rhodes, he just has a complete disgust. You know, he's like
he's less than impressed.
He is less than impressed, and he thinks this is just an abomination. And I'm not going to say he's wrong.
Now, did y'all ever think about the things being in the shape of crucifixes, or do you think that was just incidental?
Oh, you know, I was going to, yeah. Well, there's 3 crosses on the hill.
Yep.
You know, maybe is Bub supposed to be a thief on the cross? I don't know. Is there any significance?
There was his symbolism, but I don't know.
There's a lot of religious symbolism in this movie, so I can't think this is accidental.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe he is the which one of the guys went to heaven? The guy in Christ left or his right?
Not sure.
I don't know, but Bub is in hell.
We should all know that, but we don't. We're bad.
Yeah, I'm ashamed. I thought you were our resident theologian, Zach. What the heck, man?
Yeah,
I'm a lay theologian.
Bub sees Rhodes and gives him a salute. Steele is amused. Rhodes is disgusted. Logan asks him to salute back, and he says, "You want me to salute that pile of walking pus?" And he says, "Your ignorance is exceeded only by your charm, Captain." Oh man, there's so much like just down talking from these eggheads. You know, it gets old.
They think they're all Teflon coated. You know, they think
they don't get it, man.
There won't be
how are we going to set an example for them if we behave barbarically ourselves? Logan salutes Bub and gives him an unloaded pistol. Bub cocks it because he used to be a soldier. And he then tries to shoot Rhodes because he just kind of detects that Rhodes is evil. Does that seem right?
He detects that Rhodes is antagonistic and doesn't like him for sure. Yeah.
Bub is kind of treated like a dog in this, and he kind of has like a loyal dog-like relationship with Frankenstein.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like how dogs can kind of tell when somebody's not right. That's the kind of vibe I got. He attempts to shoot Rhodes. Fisher then says our Lord and Savior's name in vain. Rhodes is going to shoot Bub, but Logan stands in front of him. And Rhodes is like, what are we supposed to do? Teach them tricks? What the F is wrong with you people? They're dead, and you want to teach them tricks. And he says, we have to reward them. If this is your progress, is this the stuff that's supposed to knock our socks off? Logan does this big lame speech about how this is the beginning of civilized behavior and that we have to reward them. Get ahead here.
Rhodes is totally right to think this is a bunch of like hooey malarkey and just total bullshit. You know, like
it is complete BS. It is complete BS. And
Balderdash.
Yeah, you can kind of see he's kind of crazy, and his eyes are in the scene. This actor does a very good job.
Yeah.
He says, civility must be rewarded, Captain. If it isn't rewarded, there's no use for it. Very dark. Next scene is the soldiers getting more zombies. Even this is so weird because this speech is not at all convincing. But somehow Rhodes is like, okay, let's get more zombies because you guys are, doing tricks. Very strange.
Yeah.
Miguel is there, and he seems to be doing better. Steele asks him in a legit manner, hey, you got it? I think Steele is a good foreman here.
Yeah.
He's like,
he actually showed a little bit of empathy there.
It's almost like he's giving Miguel a chance at redemption. Is how it felt to me. He's like, hey, man,
it wasn't
you got
like,
this.
You got it, pussy. It's like, hey, you got this.
It's
like,
very
wimp.
And he's giving him a chance to get back in the good graces of the crew. Miguel's stick breaks through no fault of his own, from the looks of it. Does that seem right? And it's kind of a tough break because Miguel's kind of pulling himself together, and oh my goodness.
I'll be right back.
Oh, sounds good, man.
Sound like someone sick there.
Yeah, that happens to the best of us.
I believe it happened to me this year.
Oh my goodness!
With they said COVID can actually come. I think have something where you have like a throwing up fit, and I had something kind of like it.
Can it come through the microphone?
COVID.
Welcome back, Garlock.
I'm back.
Awesome, man. Miguel's stick
just
breaks.
A cat yelling.
Oh, it happens, man.
Yeah.
His stick breaks. A zombie bites one of Rhodes' men, and he fires off his machine gun and kills another guy, whose name I don't think we learn. And you can see this is kind of where Miguel snaps, man. He's kind of like, oh man. And he starts freaking out, and he's shouting that he didn't do it. He knows that he has now lost his place in the group forever and is disgraced. And he charges another zombie, falls down, and gets his arm bit. Steele the Chad jumps down, kicks the zombie in the face, and shoots it. And we have another scene, I think, kind of showing Steele's morality. Because one of his men begs him to shoot him. And you can see here that Steele doesn't like this, man. He's like, oh, man. But he does it. He does it because he is, I think, a good guy in a bad situation. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, I'd agree.
Miguel runs back to the Ritz. Sarah clocks him in the back of the head with a rock, probably giving him permanent brain damage. She then cuts off his arm, has them make a torch, and cauterizes the wound. Miguel wakes up screaming. And then the remaining soldiers show up wanting to kill Miguel. Where are we at here? Oh, there he is. Steele's... this thing jumping... I think we lost our picture, guys.
Uh-oh.
Back up here. There we go. Technical difficulties. We got a lot of them tonight. That's okay.
It's been worse.
Absolutely. Steele tells Sarah to get out of the way. Sarah says that she amputated the arm, and she thinks that she got the infection in time. And we have a standoff. Rhodes points out in a villain-like fashion that he's seen 1,000 of them get bit. He's going to die. And Sarah says, if he dies, I'll destroy him myself. And they tell Rhodes to help keep him out there. They'll keep him out here in the Ritz. Steele says, we need to blast him. And I think Steele's right. What do you think?
Yeah.
Steele's adamant that they need to kill this guy right now. And I don't think he wants to do it just because he goofed up. It's because he got bit.
Yeah, no, definitely, because he got bit.
And Rhodes says that'd be doing him a favor, Steele. And I think this is very much an example of Rhodes' sadism getting the best of him. What do you think? Do you think Rhodes literally just likes the idea of Miguel turning into a zombie and dying horribly, or do you think it's a bit of cowardice on Rhodes' part, where he wants to de-escalate and uses that as a kind of an out?
I kind of felt that it was to de-escalate, but that could definitely be part of it.
Maybe a little of both.
I think
But
you're
yeah,
right.
Rhodes definitely is a sadist. Yeah.
Absolutely. It's a little bit of both. He is a sadist and maybe not as brave as he likes to put on, as we'll soon find out.
Yeah.
But he says, you think he wants to walk around after he's dead? You think he wants to be one of those things? Think about it, lady. And think about this, all of you. From now on, you're not getting jack from me and my men. Tomorrow we're going to the corral, and we're not coming out until all those rotten piles of garbage is wasted. Uh-oh. Hey, there you guys are. Looks like I lost the guys for a second there.
Yeah, you kind of freezing up a little bit.
They leave. Steele points and tells John that he's on his list, a special list. Sarah then gets up and has an emotional breakdown. Finally, they kind of reached a breaking point. They doctor Miguel up and put a blanket on him. And John and Sarah leave to go grab morphine for Miguel. And Sarah apologizes for saying those mean things about them. And John kind of says, well, what do you know? We're heroes after all. What a relief. Very good line.
Yeah. He gets the best lines.
He does. Back in the lab, there's some kind of weird mutant creature thing. And Bill says, Jesus God Almighty. Sarah says, the resident surgeon has been burning the midnight oils. What the hell has he been doing in here? Slaughtering cattle? And she says, in his mind, it's not far from the truth. Because he just kind of views humans as animals. Very true. I think Sarah's kind of coming around now. I think after she's kind of had this emotional breakdown, and she's getting a little bit of her humanity back, and she's kind of like starting to view Dr. Frankenstein less favorably. Because she didn't really have a problem earlier when she was, doing weird things with Major Cooper. They find Logan's tape recorder, and there's just a bunch of crazy gibberish on it. It's kind of clear now that Logan has gone insane. Bill puts his hand in blood, takes off a sheet, and it reveals that one of the soldiers who died earlier's head is still alive and plugged into some wires. And
Really
Sarah's immediate reaction is that she wants to shoot it. And Bill says, no, let's get out of here. This is interesting because earlier when she saw Major Cooper, she didn't have any kind of like big revelation to shoot it.
She probably didn't like Cooper.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, she probably worked with the other guy. But
yeah,
it does seem like Sarah's kind of gone through some kind of moral transformation here. I could be wrong though.
It's hard to tell where anybody in this movie's coming from, from a moral standpoint.
Bill says, I'm beginning to think we should take the helicopter before somebody else does. Frankenstein comes back with a bucket of slop for Bub. He puts headphones on him and plays some music and teaches him to turn it on and off. We'll get a picture of Bub here. Oh, you see Bub kind of grabs his hand like he's going to attack, but then it's like, oh, it's Frankenstein. He's cool. I'm not going to eat him. Very much kind of like a dog.
It's domesticated.
Exactly.
But how?
He then feeds Bub a bunch of human remains.
Oh, that's how. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, reward them with living human guts because that's all they want. That's Frankenstein's idea.
Yeah, he's not a great.
So yeah,
guy.
Rhodes is perfectly correct in thinking that Frankenstein is full of hooey.
Well, coincidentally, Rhodes busts in and he asks him, "Hey, what are you feeding him?" He sees that his hand is all bloody, and they find the body of one of the men in the freezer. And this is where Frankenstein gets his comeuppance. Now, what are you feeding him? What's in that bucket? Hey, where's this? One second, guys. These pictures are out of order. 59. Well, anyway, he gets blown full of holes. Rhodes just gets a machine gun and just blows Logan to Kingdom Come.
It should be noted from the neck below. Like, Frankenstein doesn't take a headshot. So he will become a zombie.
And I gotta say,
but
Rhodes has zero reason to believe that Sarah and the other guy, Fisher, aren't in on this.
yeah.
And if you think about it, Sarah kind of is, because she knew about Cooper.
Yeah, she's complicit.
Yeah, so I think Rhodes is kind of like on the warpath here, and I don't think it's entirely unjustified. What do you guys think?
He's snapped, but it's reasonable. Like, you can understand why. Seeing his men that fought alongside getting butchered for no reason.
Well, he had an inkling of an idea that they were goofing off in there, but he didn't realize that he was like feeding his men to the zombies, and just turning them into abominations. So I think Rhodes is very sympathetic here. He's a psychopath, but he still cares about his men. He still is like, okay, these are my guys, and you guys are eating them or feeding them to the zombies or whatever. What do you think, Zach?
Yeah, it's like Frankenstein snapped a long time ago, and now they're just butting heads. And of course, Rose has to win out. Like, his practicalities went out, and he's being like super disrespectful and snobbish. But
he's literally desecrating the dead. He's desecrating the bodies of his soldiers. That's it doesn't get much worse than that. That's about the worst thing you can do.
I mean, it's almost
but he's not doing it like maliciously. He's doing it to promote his
his goofy philosophy.
His flawed work, his immensely flawed scientific theories.
All right. Where are we at here? So he takes the guns from Sarah and Fisher, and he's like, "Take their guns, take all their guns." Meanwhile, back at the Ritz, John is watching Miguel be sick, and he leaves to go find Sarah and John. And Miguel here, he is gone. He just been clocked in the head. His arm's gone, and he probably realizes he's going to die. And he probably doesn't know what's going on. And it feels like he's been betrayed. But he reaches for his cross, looking for a final burst of strength from the spirit realm. John hears the troops coming and sees that the Silent Skies and Bill the Radio Men have been taken prisoner. And he points his gun at them and tells them to hold it. Rhodes says Frankenstein is dead, and this scum is going to get it next unless you throw your weapon down now. And Bill says he means that Johnny, he killed Logan in cold blood. And he says, I killed Logan because he was a butcher. And I mean,
he's right.
Is he right? Where's the lie? Where's the lie?
I mean, maybe killing him was a little extreme, but removing him of power, I think that would be the good thing. And making him act. How about putting him to forced labor? It's like he's doing everything that's like completely disrespectful.
Probably wouldn't get a lot out of him, but yeah.
You wouldn't. I mean, he could help train Miguel. Like that would actually be the perfect thing for him to do, is to counsel Miguel.
Well, John puts down his gun, and Rhodes says, "We're getting out of here now. Give me a lip about it, and I'll blow his head off right now," referring to Fisher. He says, "The roller bird can't hold us all," and Rhodes says, "Us all ain't going. Me, my men, you. That's it." And he says, "You'll never get me to do that, Rhodes." And Rhodes just shoots Fisher right in the head, and I kind of think this is where Rhodes kind of crosses the moral event horizon. This is kind of where he has gone from, like, you kind of get where he's coming from, until now he's just a straight up villain. Like he's, that was kills the guy in cold blood.
When he caps Rhodes, he's a monster. Like, not even Frankenstein's like understandable. Like, it's like like emotion. Seeing his men turning to abominations, but like. This guy Fisher, cold blood. He's a monster.
Steele and the others shove Sarah and John into the corral with the zombies. John begs Rhodes not to do this. John is a very moral man. Rhodes says, the chopper can't hold them all. John says if he does it, he won't fly. They'll have to kill him first. John attacks one of the troops, fails at stealing his gun. Rhodes tells Steele to knock him around a bit. Oh my goodness. Where are we at here, guys? Okay. We're back in the corral, and John grabs a board and nails the zombie in the head. Meanwhile, Steele is putting a beating on John when the elevator alarm goes off. Steele and the others leave to investigate. And we see Miguel now with one arm. He is headed to the top. Let's see if we can get a good shot of him over here. Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, this is one thing I really did not understand what his purpose was and why he wanted to do it. Like,
Well, I think in his mind that he is on some kind of holy mission. Obviously, it's not a very holy mission, but, it's in his mind he is. Hey, guys, would you mind excuse
It
me
could
for
be the
just...
zombie virus.
I'll be right back, guys.
Yeah, so I really do not understand why, I get how he doesn't like the soldiers as much, but, he wants everyone to die. I don't really understand it.
I wonder if he's been driven mad by the zombie virus.
Yeah, probably that, plus he was mad beforehand, but it just seems like he would, run away or do something cowardly rather than do something that in a way is brave but is not brave because it literally brings about zero good.
Well, yeah, I mean, he basically sacrifices himself to feed everybody to the zombies. So it's not remotely altruistic. It's pure selfish. Yeah, I have no idea why he does it. I mean, I could just say Romero wanted to have a bunch of zombies rip a bunch of guts for the third act, But there's no real logical reason why Miguel brings all the zombies down into the bunker. So I'll just say that maybe the zombie virus, combined with his his stress and PTSD and everything, he just loses it. This movie's about people just losing their shit and snapping. Rhodes has lost his shit. Frankenstein had lost his shit. So it's Miguel's turn, I guess. That's my theory.
I wonder if Trembling Colors has anything to add.
Hey, thanks for covering me, guys. How you guys doing? You take a break or anything? Or we're still good?
No, we're still good. I'm good.
We are 2 hours in. I think going on the long stream we've already had, and there's still more to go. So,
not too much more.
This is a dense movie. There is a lot going on in this movie. All right, so Miguel now with one arm back on the top, and we also have. Oh, hey, that's getting ahead. Sorry, guys, I haven't done this in 2 weeks. I lose the familiarity with my mad skills.
You're doing a hell of a job, Jim.
Oh, shucks, thanks, man. You guys are too. Bub breaks free of his chain and he finds Logan's body, and Bub is very sad, and it's kind of like a dog finding its owner dead.
You could construe that he's sad because the guy who's giving him food is no longer able to give him food.
Trembling Killer says, I think he does out of spite, Zach. Yeah, that's fair. That is why Miguel does this. He's kind of just turned to darkness. He has kind of become the Judas figure that we alluded to earlier.
He's a ninny shithead. He was a ninny shithead the entire movie.
Sarah and Bill are in the cave and he fights some zombies, and Bill cuts one of its head off, their heads off with a shovel, and we get some eyeballs here.
That was great. Yeah. Yeah, that was great.
We have another great scene here. Flyboy knocks out Rhodes and takes his guns. And he points them at Rhodes. Like he's going to take a Rhodes' life here for a minute. But you can kind of see this. He kind of thinks about it really hard. And he looks over. And he sees Fisher's body. And he decides against it. It's kind of he kind of makes this moral decision.
Yeah.
And he's like, this guy's dead anyway. We're leaving him here to die. I don't got to be the one to cross that line. And there's even kind of like a lilting of the score, almost like he passes some kind of test. Steele and Rickle. It is a very good score. It's the score by Goblin gets more love and Dawn of the Dead, but I think this one I don't have the.
This one's really subdued. It's you don't really like it's there, but it's not like bombastic like a lot of scores.
Yeah, I would call it morose.
It's totally fitting.
See, morose score.
Yeah.
Back at the elevator, and all the guts are ripped out of it. And Rickles is like, fix it. Can't you fix it? And Steele points out that there's nothing to fix. And Rhodes wakes up, and his guns are gone. And he's not having a good time. Flyboy is now in the cave with Rhodes' guns, and he is a dead shot, even in the dark. It kind of makes you wonder what Flyboy did before everything ended. Flyboy being John, that is what they refer to him as.
Yeah.
So maybe he was some kind of mercenary or something, but he spent a lot of time shooting. And maybe he came to his more spiritual approach in life because he had to kill a lot of people at some point. I don't know.
Sounds like a good take. Yeah. Sounds like
I'm just I don't know the backstory here.
There's no backstory in any Romero movie ever.
John runs out of booze.
Said it was going to happen.
Yeah, it's a nice little gag. Flyboy kills more zombies. Rhodes and his men try to leave, but the controls are broken. Oh, we already got down there. The zombies come down the elevator, and then Rhodes runs away like in a golf cart. He just there's John shooting some zombies in the head. Oh, there's the
this
zombies.
Where Rhodes just completely loses his shit, and he's just done.
He loses his nerve, man.
Yeah.
Here's Judas Miguel betraying everybody for no reason other than he's a omega male. And it's kind of you force people out of society, or they force themselves in this case, or does things happen? People get pushed out. They immediately want to destroy they want to destroy things.
Yeah.
So it's they probably should just put that guy in a bed. There he goes. There's Rhodes escaping on the golf cart. Did this seem kind of out of character to you guys?
What do you mean?
Yeah, I mean, after all this stuff about like my men, like for him to just abandon everybody. But yeah, I mean, he lost his nerve. He just got shit scared.
At no point did he come across as a coward in the movie. He was in several standoffs with guns. But at the same time, he never helped in the corral. Maybe he's like deathly afraid of zombies.
Could be.
Maybe he just has some kind of a. What do you think, Zach?
I just think he's a freaking jerk. Like, I have a very simple take on it. He wanted power the whole time.
He is a jerk.
Well, I guess in his mind, now that he no longer has any power, it's like every man for himself.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Everything's falling apart, so there's no more.
Without his power, he doesn't care anymore.
Yeah.
Like having 100 zombies come down, like, yeah, he just lost his shit. He just snapped. I mean, he just went on like pure survival.
Yeah, pretty much. Steele stays behind. He's like, Rhodes, because he's pissed.
Yeah.
The zombies from the
Loyalty
corral,
betrayed.
exactly, are now inside. And we have Bub here, and he finds Frankenstein's body, and he's very upset about it. But he finds a gun, and it makes you wonder what he's going to do with that gun. For some reason, Rhodes' men have now split up, and it doesn't want to say why. I guess they just kind of scatter without a leader. And this guy, who I don't think has a name, gets caught and eaten.
Yeah, this guy gets shredded. Like,
sucks to be that guy.
Yeah, and all these guys who are getting gut munched, like, I'm pretty sure like they will like wake up as zombies, like, because they still have their,
Right. Here is,
even if they're not moving zombies.
Here's Rickles, and he is kind of doing his hyena laugh.
Yeah, he's losing his stuff right here.
Here's the Chad. Steele maintains presence of mind till the very end, I gotta say.
Yeah, he's at least trying to go for headshots,
And he has enough presence of mind to take down the door. That Rhodes locked behind him for no reason because he's a jerk.
Big jerk.
And he sees Bub. And he sees Bub's silhouette. And he's gonna shoot Bub. And but he gets distracted by Bub's silhouette and gets bit. And he shoots a few of the zombies. And then with a final act of great resolve, Steele takes his own life. It's very sad.
It was sad.
Because I kind of feel even people who don't like him or view him as a villain, maybe he deserved a little bit better of an ending than this. What do you think, Zach? Are you turned to liking Steele a little more, or do you still think he's a bad guy?
I mean, I see what y'all are saying about him, but at the same time, he is kind of a neutral character. He's not just. I mean, he crosses the line a couple times, especially beating up a Jamaican dude and just. Not. I mean, I think he's a dude who can be cool, but when he's pushed, he doesn't have the the moral fortitude to do what's right.
I will say when Rhodes loses his he kind of crosses that event horizon. Steele does kind of follow him across, because Steele kind of he does put them in the corral, and he does beat that guy, and it's what a bad situation. So yeah, he's not really a hero. Maybe he's like an anti-hero. I don't know. He's more of a sympathetic villain, I guess, or I don't know. But either way, it's kind of sad to see him go.
Right. I think what this movie really shows is at the end of the world, like, nobody's going to behave properly. Like, nobody's going to have their shit together. Like, even like Sarah, who is like the most squared away, at least psychologically, person here, like, she's still like has her breaking point. So
we're forgetting about that one scientist, the other one who was played by the mom. He's actually scared away, or squared away. He just doesn't get too much.
He had a couple little petulant outbursts,
I
think didn't really seem to be doing much productive.
I think in a different movie, Steele could have been a hero, but in this one, he's not. And it's kind of what's that line from the Bible? Come out of her, my children, or lest not you take part in her plagues. I think that's kind of what John and Bill are doing. Is there's this really dumb situation, and they're trying to stay out of it in a way so as they will not become morally compromised. Where Steele is completely compromised, even though he's not necessarily a bad guy, just by being part of this evil system. He ends up, damning himself, I guess you could say.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Maybe, I don't know. Flyboy finds Sarah and John, and they all have machine guns. Sarah and Bill do, and they mow the zombies down. And they follow some red lights out of the crypt. And he's trying to escape. His gun is out of ammo, John's gun. And Bill shoots the offending zombie. And Bill says, "Come on, Johnny. Counting on you to fly us to the promised land." It's a very, very interesting verbiage there. And we got here, they're literally climbing up a tunnel towards the light. And they are escaping the underworld. Next scene here. Here we got Rhodes. And he gets shot in the shoulder by Bob. Because he runs into Bob and he loses his nerve and he can't load his rifle. And it kind of shows Rhodes was kind of a paper tiger the whole movie.
He might be zombophobic.
Yeah, I guess so. The zombie fear.
Yeah.
Maybe when he was in the army above ground, they all probably saw some crazy stuff. So they're all pretty traumatized, and they all react in different ways. And I think this movie is great at showing trauma, and how people react to it.
Yep.
Got here, he gets shot in the leg, and I love the scene where he's edging towards the door, like very slowly.
Yeah, there's a screenshot up here that I see all the time in various things. Actually, before I watched this, I didn't know it's where it's from. Yeah, that.
Yeah, that's great. That's a great shot.
He opens the door and there's a room full of zombies. And then he gets shot in the gut by Bub, who salutes him.
What a dick move by the zombie. And he knew it was a dick move too. Because they do.
Yeah, it's some presence of mind by Bub here.
Yeah.
And as he gets pulled apart, he screams, "Choke on him!" Is it choke on him or choke on me? Either way, Rhodes goes out.
Choke on it. Defiant to the end. I appreciate that, even if he was, a coward at the end, but he's still defiant. Choke on him.
And here we are. They have escaped hell, and they are now in paradise. They're fishing. They're having a good time. And that's the end. They made it. And what do you guys think of Day of the Dead?
It's my favorite Romero movie.
Oh yeah, you like it more than Dawn?
Yeah.
I haven't seen Dawn in probably 5 or 6 years, so I'd feel like I was doing malpractice if I compared them. But I think I like this one more. What do you think, Garlock?
Well, Night is the classic. Dawn is like the rip-roaring adventure ride that everybody loves. But and this one's kind of like the unwanted stepchild of the Dead trilogy. But it took me a while. It took me many viewings, but I do like this one the best. The zombie effects are by far the best out of the trilogy because it's not like just gray face like in Dawn of the Dead, which got kind of goofy after a while. And this movie is really a character study. Like it shows that in extreme situations, humanity will more than likely not pull together and will consume itself, as we are seeing right now in our life, in the world right now today. So I think it's very telling. And it's a parable for our times, just like Demolition Man, Day of the Dead.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. 10 out of 10.
Oh yeah.
Best zombie movie ever? Possibly.
I mean, I gotta say it's my favorite one. I can't think of one that I like more.
It's up there because it's just there's a little very subtle little bits of humor there here and there, like with Bub and stuff. But for the most part, this is just like grueling claustrophobic terror. Like it's just it's a hopeless scenario, like 400,000 to 1. They can't get along, and it's frightening. It's really frightening. So
there's Mr. Colors, and he says, "This used to be my least favorite, but now it's my favorite." Close second is The Long Cut of Dawn.
I like
Yeah,
The Long Cut of Dawn, definitely. It's like 3 hours long. It doesn't seem as long as Night Riders, which is 2.5 hours, but yeah.
I don't think I ever disliked this one. I just all three of them, all three of the original trilogy are great, and I'm gonna rewatch Land of the Dead here soon, and I remember being disappointed in it, but it followed up. I followed this up. It followed like Dawn. It's competing with Dawn and Day of the Dead, which is a very high mark to meet.
There was a 20-year gap between this one and Land of the Dead, so. Like if you were able to make a big budget, everybody wanted Twilight of the Dead after this one, night, dawn, day, twilight, but it never happened. Yeah. So I think that would have been pretty remarkable if he was given his budget and could make his his zombie, Goddardammerong or however you pronounce it.
Right.
But he never really got to, and sad.
And how are the ones that came after that, like Diary of the Dead and
I actually like Diary of the Dead.
I like Diary also.
Yeah, I mean
it's found footage, so it's kind of weird having Romero do a found footage movie, but it works. And it's basically like the beginning of the outbreak, but the timeline's all goofy because it's all this modern tech and stuff. So you're kind of supposed to wedge like night and dawn kind of in there, even though like, oh, it's one of those new shopping centers, and but Diary's good. I like that from the get-go. Survival of the Dead, I need to revisit that. I didn't like it a whole lot.
Do you guys like the Savini remake at night more than the original? I personally do. I haven't seen it since high school, but I remember thinking it was the equal of the original. What do you guys think?
I'll say no, but I like the fact that Barbara in the remake isn't a catatonic, useless mess. And Tony Todd's rad in anything. But yeah, I still like the original better. But it was a damn fine remake.
Yeah, I've sadly not seen it.
It was almost beat for beat, is what I remember. But I did like the Barbara being more of a badass in it.
I've only seen the remake once, and then I've seen the original many times. So I don't. It's hard for me to like revisit remakes. I can appreciate them, but I don't want to go watch them again.
Some kind of Romero zombie book just came out. Do you know anything about that, Zach?
Yeah, I know about it. It was a novel that he didn't finish, and this dude ended up finishing it. And they released it, and I've got to say, it's got some woke stuff going on that's kind of cringy. But it might be a fun novel, though. I'm not really sure, but it's also supposed to be super long too.
I was looking at the Amazon reviews. Shied away from that, He's always been the social commentary guy.
I guess a lot of the stuff that was in Land was supposed to be in this movie, like with the people living underground, or people, I don't know. Like Land was kind of like recycled from Day of the Dead. You know much about that, Garlock?
Yeah, I hadn't heard anything about it.
Wait, Land was what?
Oh, apparently a lot of the script that got cut, because it was originally 200 pages and it got cut down to 120 when he lost a big part of the budget. A lot of that cut out script ended up in Land of the Dead, apparently.
Yeah, I hadn't heard that.
Like maybe he should have thought up a fresh idea in the meantime, but I guess
it works though, and it's supposed to have a continuity with Dawn of the Dead too, because you see Tom Savini's character as a zombie.
That's true. You see Blade. I think that's his name, right? Blade.
I think so. Any other reflections on Day of the Dead, guys? Oh,
best gore effects in a zombie movie, I'd say.
Have you seen the John Russo edit of Night of the Living Dead with added footage from decades later?
Dude, I own that, but I still haven't watched it. Like, I can't bring myself to watch it, but I bought the freaking DVD, so I can watch it anytime I want. But I just haven't brought myself to watch that.
Yeah, John Russo, because I've actually had a lot. I've talked with him because I went and back when I got some books published through a small publishing company that had him with like it's like their star author. Like I went and sold books with him at this convention, and it's a really sad story with him. Like I don't think he was as good as Romero. Well, he's still alive. Yeah. I don't think he's as good as Romero, but there's kind of a lot of bitterness there with Romero, having the spotlight for so long. But a lot of people don't think about his books that he wrote, like his novelized version of the script that would have been like an actual sequel to Night of the Living Dead, called Return of the Living Dead, but it's not at all.
Yeah, I didn't even know they existed. So maybe he's on something there. I mean, he kind of feels like a Romero hanger-on. Am I wrong?
That's the thing that would get him mad, because he does have like the creative energy to like be his own.
Is he watching this? Is he going to see that I called him a hanger-on?
Yeah, he might come after you.
Well, if you remake
Zach's boy John Russo,
if you remake Night of the Living Dead and add a bunch of garbage footage and ruin it, you're a hanger-on. I mean, that's kind of a bozo move.
Yeah.
I mean, he holds on. He does a thing where he sells dirt.
Oh, did he? Okay, so maybe not a hanger-on, maybe a collaborator who maybe didn't contribute that much as he thought he did.
Yeah, but then later he keeps using it. Like if I could have given him advice, I would be like, just do your own thing and forget Night of the Living Dead.
Just move on, dude. Do something else.
He kept with it. He started selling dirt from the set of Return of the Living Dead and things like that.
Yeah, that's embarrassing.
Yeah. He's a cool dude, though. I feel bad for him. I think he should have let it go. And I mean, he did do his other things too, but he shouldn't have kept coming back.
Well, he did Return, right? I mean, Return was, I liked Return.
Oh yeah, we all love Return. He didn't have any.
I don't think John Russo had too much to do with the finished product of the film of Return of the Living Dead.
Yeah, it's confusing because he did he wrote the Return of the Living Dead novel, which was like a legitimate sequel in novel form to Night of the Living Dead, and then he novelized Return of the Living Dead, the movie, and they're obviously both called Return of the Living Dead. And I don't know what he did to the thing, like with the actual movie. Like I don't know what part he played in it, but he has dirt from the set though. if you want it,
I think he's like a co-writer.
Keller says that there's some comics Russo wrote for Avatar Press. Have you read those comics, Zach? Or I guess Garlock would be the one who would know.
I know about him. I haven't read any. There's like Plague of the Living Dead, like Flight of the Living Dead, just a bunch of stuff of the Living Dead. And they're your average, like from flipping through them, they just seem like your average Avatar Press torture porn. So, I mean, they're probably
y'all hear those planes coming through?
What's that?
There's like all these planes like flying over my house. I don't know if y'all heard it. It's like some Red Dawn stuff going on.
Oh my goodness. Well, you can't be too careful, man. Return was almost completely rewritten for the script by Dan O'Bannon, who also directed it. Oh my goodness!
And honestly, probably made it better. I mean, I don't know. Like,
would
the original book have made a better movie? Zach?
No, not at all.
What were those comics? I'm sorry to cut you off, Zach.
Oh, I was just gonna say the Return of the Living Dead novel is so gloomy. It's fun, but like the movie, it's better.
Do you guys have the Zombie Survival Guide book?
I don't.
I do. I still have it. I got when it came out. It's not bad. I never read World War Z. I did see the movie once. Have you guys seen World War Z? It's like a zombie movie made for our parents. It's like it's like the most normie zombie movie ever made. But I didn't hate it. I mean, I've seen so many terrible zombie movies that, like, if anything is just like remotely even passing, I give it a thumbs up. And I thought World War Z it jumped the bar, you know.
I'll check it out one of these days. I mean, I love zombie movies. I generally like the the Romero stuff and like just the really shitty Italian ones, like Hell of the Living Dead and all that.
Have you seen Dance of
Like
the
Nightmare
Dead?
City.
Mm-mm.
Dance of the Dead's a good one.
Was that one of the Masters of Horror thing, or is that its own thing?
No, they might both have the same title because I know the Masters of Horror episode you're talking about. No, this one it's a movie about it's like a teenager movie with zombies in a prom or something. I can't remember exactly, but it actually turned out to be good. It sounds stupid, but it was fun.
Sometimes that's all you need is to have a little fun in the movie, and that'll work. One more question, Garlic. Was it Zombie World, the comic series that came out in the 90s? The zombie comic?
Okay, well, Mike Mignola had a comic called Zombie World, but the comic book that I like, that's probably the first ever zombie comic that's like really visceral, is called Dead World, and it was originally
that's the one. Okay.
Yeah, I figured that was what you're talking about.
I've
that
got
was
a bunch
drawn
of
by Vincent Locke, who did all the Cannibal Corpse album covers.
I used to have
it's really
some,
cool.
And
yeah.
Dead World, Trim the Colors. Of course, he probably, of course he knows. Of course he knows.
Yeah. But yeah, Dead World. With pretty much any zombie comic. I mean, I haven't read all 1,000 issues of Walking Dead, but it seems like they'll be cool for about 12 issues, and then they kind of run out of ideas, and it's just like meandering crap after that.
I think they finally ended. What's the comic? Walking Dead. I think they finally brought it to a close.
Yeah, they had a surprise final issue. They were soliciting issues past it, and then they had a surprise final issue.
I think those are. I've read probably 85% of the Walking Dead run, and I think it's good. I think it's just a little bit of villain decay. It's kind of the same deal over. Like, oh, you thought this guy was bad? Well, check this guy out. He's really bad.
Yeah.
And they do that about 4 or 5 times. And I think if they had done it one less time, it may have been.
I worked at a comic book store for a decade, and I have not read a single issue of The Walking Dead. And it just seems like it would become like just super tiresome, just like meandering, like a good comic book needs to be over after like 60 issues,
It did go. I think it went on for probably 20 issues too many, maybe. But I'll probably finish it. I mean, I started reading it when it came out and followed it forever. I just kind of lost track. Keeping up with comics is a time-consuming endeavor. It's a very expensive and draining hobby. So
yeah.
Sadly, I can't
acquire that one.
I don't know what it is. I've tried, and it's like they're like
who else can't?
Huh?
Tim Burton can't read comics either.
Yeah, it might be something like that.
Some kind of weird dyslexia where he says he doesn't understand how it works.
It's not dyslexia. It's like everyone else reads them and they say it's like kind of like a movie in their mind, and they get it, like it pops in their mind. When I read comics, it's something. There's something about it. My brain just can't latch onto it.
Yeah,
Something covers 75 issues at max.
I've got to read books or watch movies. Like they're like an in between thing.
And I mean, Zach, to be perfectly like fair, like you might have read just some shitty comics, because there are plenty of just shitty comics out there, But I mean, it's a viable art form. I don't know if there's anything out now that's worth a hoot, but there's definitely some good comics out there.
Yeah, I wasn't matching it. I'm just saying it's like me. Like it's almost like a freaking autism thing. It's like everyone else gets it, and I've tried and I can't do it.
You got to be autistic, like to begin with, to be into comic books. I mean, this is speaking from personal experience. Okay, you got to be a little bit of kind of a soft R to like really be into comic books. And I mean, I have more comic books than probably anybody you guys will ever know. But even I'm kind of like ambivalent about the industry as it is now. So there's I get Savage Dragon because I've been buying it for 30 years, so I'm still buying Savage Dragon, and it's fun. I like it, but whatever. Hey, are we done?
Yeah, we can wrap it up, guys. Sounds good.
There's one thing I got to say. Since we were talking about all these zombie movies, I've got to say I know what the single most overrated zombie movie in history is.
Hit me.
What's that?
Train to Busan.
Never seen it. Never even heard of it. I don't even know what it is.
If it doesn't have the word dead in the title, it's not a zombie movie.
Yeah, this isn't a zombie movie. It's a horrible attempt.
I mean, Children of the
guys.
Living Dead was pretty bad. There's lots of bad zombie movies.
I think we're running out of gas here. Thank you all for tuning in, and till next time.
Have a good night, guys.